Hi, I'm Hayden Matthews, and welcome to Tyler's Arm Show. This is Tyler King, that's Thomas Vicario, and we're going to be giving you fantasy predictions. Gonna give you the top three position players along with three defensive players and a couple sleepers per each position. Start off with you, Tyler, because it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Give me your top three quarterbacks and your sleepers.
All right, number one tends to be number one on all these lists. The guy that throws for 75,000 yards in his career, or something like that. Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Drew Brees is the epitome of you're going to get 5,000 yards a season. You're going to get a bunch of touchdowns. He has to be the number one at least preseason going into it. There's nothing to show that he's not going to be there. Number two and number three are both guys that were hurt last year for me, Rodgers and Wentz. Aaron Rodgers, if he can stay healthy, he's the best quarterback in the league by a wide margin. He's one of the most talented, if not the most talented we've ever seen. So he has to be there. He has Jimmy Graham now, so he has a bigger red zone threat. If he can stay healthy, he's in for a big year. And three being Wentz, who lit it up last year. If he can stay healthy, he's coming off the ACL and come back at the strength he was last year, he's going to be an MVP candidate again. He has that talent. For sleepers, I got two of them. First one being Marcus Mariota. Matt LaFleur is the new OC in Tennessee. He was the guy that was behind Matt Ryan's MVP season. He was the guy that was behind RG3's rookie season that he made the Pro Bowl. He was the guy that was behind Jared Goff last season in his revitalization. So LaFleur has a great track record. He's probably going to be a head coach next year. Mariota's going to thrive underneath him. And the second one is Mitchell Trubisky. He didn't have a lot of fantasy numbers last year, and he was a lot handcuffed due to the scheme. He was handcuffed due to the talent around him, and now that all that he can thrive in it. Those two guys are the ones that I'm looking at later down being top 10 guys.
We're all hoping Trubisky
Yeah.
pans out. What about you, Thomas?
I have Aaron Rodgers number one. As Tyler said, he's the most talented quarterback in the league. He can make all his receivers work, and with Jimmy Graham, I think he will continue to be the best quarterback, including in fantasy. Number two, Russell Wilson. He doesn't have much support around him, but he makes it all happen, and because of his legs, he gets extra fantasy points due to that, and that's why I think he's the second best. And number three, someone who got hurt early last year, but was amazing before it, Deshaun Watson. He had 3 games of more than 30 points, and he loves throwing to Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins, and he really fits well in Houston. So I think if he plays a full season, he will be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And then a sleeper is Patrick Mahomes. He's taking the spot of Alex Smith, who left during the offseason for the Chiefs. He was the number 10 pick. And he's got Tyreek Hill to throw the deep ball to, and Travis Kelce, who's always reliable. And I think Mahomes can step in there and start well.
So I have a mix of both here. Drew Brees is my one, Kirk Cousins as my two. I like him going to Minnesota. He's gonna throw to so many options. You have Kyle Rudolph, Dalvin Cook when he gets back out of the backfield isn't a terrible pass catcher. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. He's just set up for so much success. On top of the success he had in Washington, and if you look at what he did in Washington, he threw for a lot of yards to guys like Terrell Pryor and Jameson Crowder, who aren't the best wide receivers. So we just got an upgrade, and it just makes a lot of sense. And then Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is the only person that I have on my top 5 actually coming off of an injury, just because I don't like quarterbacks coming off an injury. Just like with Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers coming off a collarbone injury and losing his favorite wide receiver, Jordy Nelson. I don't like that. Deshaun Watson, known as a running player, tears his ACL. I just don't like players coming off of injuries, especially when they're run first or down their favorite weapon. And I have 2 sleepers. I have Patrick Mahomes as well. It's just he's got one of the best tight ends in the league, and new quarterbacks with really good tight ends are always set up to have a good year, along with Derek Carr. Carr was hurt, but he adds Jordy Nelson. Did he lose Michael Crabtree? Yes. But you add Nelson into that mix, I consider that an upgrade. So, he had a tremendous MVP season a couple of years ago, and then you added Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best quarterbacks. His favorite weapon, that should be pretty good down there in Oakland. Let's start with you for running backs, Tom.
I have Ezekiel Elliott number one. He's just so consistent because of the Cowboys' offensive line, and he did really well before the suspension finally kicked in after something like 17 appeals or something last season. So I think he will lead the Cowboys again this year. And then Todd Gurley, number two. He had an amazing season last year. I think he'll keep that up. Maybe not number one level, but he will still be great. And then Alvin Kamara, he receives and runs the ball. So, and in the Saints scheme that they score a lot of points and get a lot of yards, I think he'll do well. And then sleeper is Derrick Henry. Now with DeMarco Murray off the team, Derrick Henry will get a lot of carries, and when he gets carries, he capitalizes. He was kind of inconsistent last year, but the Titans offense didn't give him the ball enough. This year I think they will, and he will be a good running back.
Number one, I mean, I got to go with the guy who I just absolutely adored throughout the entire draft, Saquon Barkley. I truly think he's a top 3 running back in the league right now, if not one of the top 2, most likely. Giants have been the reason that their offense has been struggling over the past couple of years. Is they're one-dimensional. They had God knows who at running back for the past 2 years. So now that they have both dimensions on offense and they have a transcendental talent at running back, they're going to have some talent, or they're going to have a lot more production from their offense. And I feel like Barkley's going to be the beneficiary of that. He's probably going to be, if not number 1, top 3 running back this year in fantasy. 2, I agree with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, this guy's just been the best for, 6 years now. I mean, he's just one of the great running backs that we've had since Adrian Peterson being the last guy that has been able to put it up for that long. And 3, between Todd Gurley and David Johnson, I think Gurley's probably the safer pick. David Johnson coming off an injury. If he can get back to the form which we saw before the injury, he's the number 3 guy, but if you want to go for a safe pick, Gurley. And my sleeper is Duke Johnson from Cleveland. He's going to end up playing basically a wide receiver in Hugh Jackson's scheme, but you have an actual quarterback now. If Tyrod Taylor is actually a lot better than people give him credit for, and if he doesn't start, you have Baker Mayfield, the number 1 overall pick. And he's going to be essentially a slot receiver, and he's really good at it. Probably one of, if not the best, pass-catching running back in the league right now. I think Cleveland's going to be a lot better than people think this year, and I think Duke Johnson's going to be a big part of it.
You love Duke Johnson.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so for me, Todd Gurley is number 1 running back. I don't expect anything to change from the Rams. I mean, Gurley was the number 1 running back last year. He'll continue to catch balls, run, take 20 touches a game. That's exactly what you want out of your number 1 running back. Number 2 is Zeke, just because you don't know what Dallas is going to give you, but they're going to give you one top running back and a top offensive line every year. So Zeke is there. And then number 3 is David Johnson. I said earlier I don't like taking people off of injuries, but Johnson could have returned after Thanksgiving, but the Cardinals were so bad that they just didn't push him back. That's why I'm not worried about him whatsoever. My 2 sleepers, the last couple of years, we've seen rookie running backs take over. Last year, Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara were 2 rookie running backs who were not top draft picks. I'm going to go with Rashad Penny and Darius Geis. Both of these guys very similar to what everybody had, and they just make so much sense. Everyone loves their rookie running backs. Everyone wants to get their rookie running backs touches. They're fresh legs, and it just makes a lot of sense. And also, don't forget about Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. So that's going to wrap it up. We ran out of time here today, but that's all right. So for Tyler Kading, happy birthday. Thomas Macario, I'm Hayden Matthews. Have a good night.